Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 6th of March. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary P.
And Gary, I don't want to start this GPTV on a negative note because it's a positive, upbeat show.
Nothing negative to talk about.
But I've got something negative to say.
Go for it.
I can't tell you how disappointed I am with our partnership.
Oh, don't be like that, Philip.
I am. Do you know, we've been together now for 30 odd years, right? And people think that we're running...
I haven't been cheating on you, I've been loyal.
People think that we've got this successful operation.
Yeah.
While I've been waiting for you to get ready...
Oh, this is the new thing. So you're copying me because last week I sprung something on you. So all week he thought, I'm going to get him on the show next week. So
I'm just been looking at Facebook while I've been waiting for you to get ready. Yeah. And I've just seen that there is a record-priced home just sold in Los Angeles, in Malibu.
Yeah.
Selling price, $120 million US.
Yes.
And if you think that story's not story enough, guess who the owner was?
Not me.
And Los Angeles estate agency owner. And I'm thinking to myself,
what have we been doing all the time?
The owner of a real estate agency sold his own home for $120 million US. So what's that? 150 million Australian. What have we been doing? What have we been doing for 30 years?
We haven't quite found the formula yet. Personally, I blame you, but I think we've got to take collective responsibility for actually going nowhere in our lives. But congratulations to that person. I'd like to know what business they have on the side, actually, because I've got to say to you, if
I'm going to show that house up on screen just very briefly. I mean, it's a pretty special house. I'm not sure it's worth $150 million.
So that's his own house. I've got to say to you, Philip, it's interesting because we've had a couple of floats of real estate agencies and they've all gone, haven't they, really? They've all gone downhill. And the reality is that I don't think real estate agencies make it, other than that bloke, I don't think they make as much money as people think.
Well, you know what they say about real estate agents? We're all smoke and mirrors.
Exactly right.
And the reality is every time we go home to our homes, we have to get past the row of bankers in the driveway, all trying to service pieces of paper.
Exactly right. All those disguises that we wear to keep the sheriff away. Anyway, look, we're not battling, but I've got to say to you that a lot of people think that agents do a lot better than they do. I'm not crying poor. But I'm just saying we're not all like that bloke in America. So, so be less disappointed with us than inspired by him. I want to know what other business he's got. I want to know who his family is, where he inherited all that money from.
All I know, if that's what an estate agent's home looks like,
exactly right,
then we're in the wrong country.
We've got a lot of work to do, that's for sure, Phil. But certainly we did do a lot of work on the weekend because we had a 79% clearance rate.
So
get the towers
up. Industry average 66%, Gary, and Gary Peer and Associates came streaming home at 79%
flying
clearance.
Down the outside, Philip, like Kiwi and the Melbourne Cup
22 from 28. 22 from 28. That's massive result.
22 from 28 was very exciting, Philip. It was a great weekend, some strong results, some happy vendors, happy buyers, happy agents.
I concluded the sales meeting on Monday, Gary, with a round of applause to our team to just celebrate the fact that 22 out of 28, a 79% clearance, is a massive number of properties sold.
And did I detect a bit of cynicism from the floor about the actual clearance rate reported as well, Philip? Because let's just talk about this for a second, because our rate is a true clearance rate. 79%.
Hand on heart.
Absolutely. There's nothing unreported, but how many results when you look through the rates, all of a sudden you know that someone down the road, we won't name them, or maybe we will, someone down the road just didn't happen to report their past in results.
So viewers, this is the problem with industry statistics, and I think the industry does their best to send out statistics to the marketplace that are fair and reasonable. But what happens is that if an estate agency, not Gary Peer and Associates, but if an estate agency has a bad weekend, they might have had 10 auctions, and they might have sold 4 out of 10.
Well, there was one agent sold
often,
one out of 5.
Cut across me?
Yeah, I'm going to, because one sold like 1 out of 5, we think. Anyway, go on.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
20%.
A lot of those agents then don't ring and report the properties that they passed in. So the numbers are a bit rubbery from the industry. So, but when we report,
rubbery, 79% is a rubbery clearance rate.
When we report, we tell you 22 out of 28. We had 28, and look, shout out to the 6 that didn't sell. We're working on it as we speak, and some of those will be sold this week.
We'll get there.
But our results are always true and correct.
Yeah. Anyway,
except when we have a really bad weekend.
No, that's not true, Philip. We don't. We always sell it as it is. And
we always promised when we set up this show that we're going to give the facts, the hard facts, the cold facts, the real facts.
Yeah, anyway, there's a lot of stuff that's not out there. Let's talk about some of the results that we had, Philip. It was a good weekend. There were some great results. There were some exciting sales. There were some big sales as well. And there was the biggest sale in, it's not disclosed, doesn't have to be disclosed, a figure, but the biggest sale in Caulfield so far this year, or in and around here, was sold in Morrice Street. I'm sure it's no shock.
So you say Morrice, I say Morrice, but a shout out to the Richmond family, a shout out to Robert and Deb, who have really created
and
their
support team,
the most incredible with their crew, which includes Rebecca Schneider on interiors, Danny Milavkovsky on landscaping. Robert and Deb have really created the most beautiful house, and they've set a new record price, as they should, with such a magnificent home.
So well done to them who have sold the best home together with the team, and well done to our team who put that deal together. Philip, let's talk about some of the results.
Just go back. How big was the crowd at that auction?
Well, we've got some shots. Let's show those shots right now. Here's a little bit of video footage that you're seeing right now. I mean, it was a most incredibly massive. It was like an event.
400 people.
You know, when you go to a concert or something and they have major event ahead, there's someone on the highway saying slow down, major event, and there's all these exits and access points. It should have been like that, Phil, because it really was.
Our coffee van got slammed. Apparently that they ran out of water. They almost ran out of coffee.
It was like a riot. People were rocking the van when I got there, Phil. It was riotous.
Incredible. It was crazy. Great privilege to be part of that transaction. So thanks again to both buyer and seller.
Yeah, well done to the buyer who we've had identified in our books for a while. He wants to stay unidentified, fair enough too, but we're glad we could find just something from our database, Philip. We've been looking for him for a while. Phil, let's get off to a start on Saturday. We sold in McGowan Avenue, Huntley. A very competitive auction there, sold for $935,000. We had a number of bidders, passed it and sold it straight afterwards. So well done to the vendor and to the most delightful lady who bought that. 8 Buxton Street, Elsternwick, similar thing. Philip was passed in, but was sold afterwards. Adam Josky put that deal together, as he so often does with deals, and well done to him and to the vendors there. Philip, 381 Lillimur Road, you auctioned that one of our, possibly our hottest auction in terms of competitiveness and
Gary,
over the reserve selling price.
Nice story there, because that was a family that had held this property for 60 years, and if you think about 60 years in that part of Ormond,
that's almost as long as you've been alive.
I reckon there would have been market gardens there 60 years ago. That little pocket, though, is really developing since the Andrews government, shout out to Dan Andrews and his government for removing the level crossing in North Road. That little area is just prospering now, and that Ormond village of North Road with the shops, it's really gathering some momentum. So this will end up being developed. We sold that to some really good young developers who would love me describing them now as young developers, but are looking forward to something that will take place there that will be very sexy.
The Carnegie theme continues, Phil. We've had a great weekend in Carnegie. 9 at 1264 Huntley Road. Leo Samuel auction that. Now, we don't care if they're big, small, whatever. It's $330,000.
Can I just pull you up on that, Gary? We, across the weekend, sold from $350,000 all the way up to millions and millions of dollars. And I want to say, viewers, that all of those sales are important to us. In fact, our 1 and 2 bedroom sales form the lifeblood, really, of a real estate agency.
They keep us going.
We sell many more 1 and 2 bedroom apartments than we do multi-million-dollar mansions.
How do you think we're going to afford to have a $120 million house for ourselves, Phil? We don't have those sales.
And viewers, the reason that we love those apartments is that they give us an avenue to connect with first home buyers and investors. And given the fact that we've been around 30 years, Gary, and we're going to be around for another 300 years, that those small vendors and buyers become part of the lifeblood of our organisation.
I just want to say, I think that the fancy new logo, brand, I just hope it doesn't alienate some of those people. It's all very fancy, boutique-y, schmancy, upmarket, and I'm worried, actually, Philip, that some of the people who own more affordable properties will think, oh, these guys, guys.
See, Gary, it just
looks like they run with bankers.
You might be a good estate agent. That is, you know how to negotiate the sale, but you know nothing about branding or marketing. Nothing. Why do you think, and I'm going to just pose this to you, why do you think BMW has a 1 Series, a 2 Series, a 3 Series, a 5 Series and a 7 Series? Have you got any possible idea why that would be the case?
Well, Philip, I know all about BMW, what's it called? A Bavarische, a Motorwerken. I know all about them.
Answer the question.
No, I'm going to move on.
So they have a 1 Series, Gary, so it's the entry level into the brand. But they don't have a showroom that's a beaten up, dirty, downtrodden showroom for people that can only afford the 1 Series. Like, go over there and buy a crap car from a crap showroom. They say, here's a beautiful showroom. We're going to treat you special because you'll enter there in the 1 Series and we will then take you and graduate you across the range. That is exactly what we're doing with our brand. You are an idiot.
I think people will be intimidated by that showroom also, Philip, but I think I'd just like to make it clear as the working man's agent in this partnership,
the Jimmy Barnes of real estate. Yeah, we've heard that before.
So don't worry, don't let his fanciness get in the way of us doing business together. Philip, 17 Sheffield Street. Now that was a ripper auction. We had that property we thought we might get around to the top of the range, which was 99.90 because we had interest. It was on the market at the top of the range, and wow, sold for $1,101,000. It was one of those stories, Phil, where it was like just be sold last second, and a bidder pops up and goes.
Okay. If we're going to go through all of these auctions, seemingly one after the other, I'm going to just jump forward and say I had a lovely surprise on Saturday afternoon because I went and did an auction.
Is this the adult version?
I did an auction in Eumeralla Road.
Yes, you
did.
Yeah.
I skillfully passed that property in on a vendor bid of $1,550,000. Yep. We'd had a bid previously by a buyer at $1,525,000. I went up to that buyer afterwards and said, so we're looking for a further increase, and that buyer just calmly looked at me and said, Philip, our bid was $1,525,000. You put in a vendor bid above us. We have no further budget. We're not going to increase our offer. I then moved on to another property, and yet lo and behold, Gary, in the afternoon, as I was going through the final statistics of the day, I see Eumeralla Road is sold.
Yes.
I rang you up and said, what happened?
Well, Philip, you know, what you don't understand is sometimes you just get in the way of the deal with all the best intentions. Sometimes you get in the way of the deal. We needed you to clear off to get that deal done, and Ben Rothschild and myself and the team wrapped that one up. And by the way, you know, talking about
a shout out, is the price undisclosed?
No, it's not. It's $1,605,000.
Well, shout out to Ben Rothschild because, as I say, I left, and you know, I like to think of myself as somewhat of a senior negotiator, Gary.
Well, you're senior. You're definitely senior.
But I left. And good on you, Ben, because it was sold for $55,000 more than what I'd passed it in on a vendor bid, but $80,000 more than the buyer's last bid. I'm presuming that was the buyer that bought.
That was the buyer that bought. And look, a shout out to the vendor, Phil, very well known in the racing industry, I have to say. I don't know if you know that, but the vendor's brother is one of the best trainers, horse trainers in Melbourne. Right. Pat Hyland, he was a jockey, a champion jockey, great trainer, still trains really well. But the vendor of that property, that block of land, they supply...
Block of land. Block of land.
Yeah, block of land, that's what I said.
Block of land. Well, block of land. Block of land.
Block of land. The vendor of that block
of land. The vendor of that block of land. So you're not worthy of our new brand.
You know, I don't want our new brand. I didn't want it ever. But the vendor of that block of land, Philip, they actually supply
block of land. How do you spell block of land? Block of land.
It's block with an R in the land. That vendor, Phil, they actually supply silks to the racing industry. Now, here's this. We're watching. We made the sale. I go out to say congratulations. No, you're going to like this. It all connects. It connects incredibly. I go out to congratulate them. They go, oh, don't interrupt us. We're watching television. I say, what are you watching? Well, they're watching the races. Yeah. They're watching Winx, which became the first racehorse.
Even I know Winx.
Winx became the first racehorse to win, I think it's 23 Group 1s, the most Group 1s ever of anyone. Right. So history was made on Saturday for anyone involved in racing.
What was the horse before Winx that had
Black Caviar. Black Caviar. Yeah. Now, Winx won all those races, and they said to me, there goes Winx winning the race wearing our silks. There you go. So, you know, what a great story. It all ties in for racing enthusiasts. It's beautiful.
Long story there. If you're wondering why we're waffling on today, it's because we're approaching the long weekend, which is the Labor Day weekend. Yeah. And as a responsible agency, we have elected to have no auctions on over the long weekend. So hence the waffle.
17 Arthur Street. Hello, Arthur. 17 Arthur Street, Caulfield North, Philip. Sold on the weekend. You did the auction. I did
it inside, Gary, because it was a pretty hot day on Saturday.
Yeah,
we did it inside.
It got sweaty.
Had a big crowd, and we'd identified 3 or 4 buyers. Yep. And I've got to tell you, I went inside. There was a tremendous feeling of bonhomie inside. Called for bidding. Oh, nothing Nothing. I could not do.
What's bonhomie? You're talking about the whole new.
It's a French term, Gary. It's a French term.
Is that where people marry?
Look it up after the
blokes
show.
Marry blokes, women marry.
Look it up after the show. Okay. But the reality is that it took me so long to get it started. But once it did start, absolutely flew. Is the price disclosed there, Gary?
It is disclosed there, Philip. We sold it for $1,545,000.
And a shout out to the vendors who had bought a property previously from us late last year. Lovely, lovely people. But we sold it to the most delightful family, Gary. Arthur Street's a great position. Love that spot.
Acacia Street, well known because it is the street that we sold for Julia and Sasha. And by the way,
and Julia was at the auction.
Oh, was she?
Particularly lovely, I don't mind saying.
She's a great lady.
She is.
They're both a great couple. So was it the neighbour or across the road?
It was across the road, Gary. Okay. And there was another auction that was just agonising to get it going, but once we got it going, flew all the way, well past the reserve, and sold for a
$1,645,000, well above the reserve expectations. You have a number of bidders there.
We ended up having two strong bidders, Gary, but great people that bought it and great people that sold it. So thanks for entrusting us with the sale of your beautiful home.
Sometimes, Phil, it's worth talking about the properties that didn't sell because sometimes that didn't sold. Because Phil, sometimes the one that didn't sold. That's where the value is. And I'm going to tell you, I think there's great value.
Let's have a quick look at them, Gary. What are we talking about?
Well, 27 Albion Street, Caulfield South. The reserve there is $1,599,000.
Looks like a buy to me.
I reckon that's a great buy. It's actually, I think it's actually under our original range. So it's probably gone by the time this goes to air because it should be. But if it's still there by any chance, get down and buy that one in Albion Street.
Do you know what? I think we need to get some graphics that come over these the past ins that screamingly great buy, like something should be flashing on screen.
Or maybe have a scream over it, like somebody screaming. 66 Snowdon Avenue, Philip, that one did sell. A great house, undisclosed, but thought it's worthy of a mention, as was Morrice Street, which we've talked about already. Some of the other stuff that didn't sell, Philip, we should talk about is that, which we think is a very good buy, 40 Spring Road. Now, that one is a fantastic house. It was passed in at $2 million and the reserve is $2,195.
Viewers, if you want to see an amazing street in Caulfield South, that if you've never been down there, it's worth a drive because you've got this beautiful, lovely parkland going right down the centre. It's an extraordinary address.
27 Park Street, not sold, but 25 Park Street, I should say, not sold, but great house, 2395 will buy that, and that is a great looking property in Jeremy Rose.
It is a beautiful one. We've actually got the house next door for sale too, Gary. So, if there's a family watching this, you could buy 25 and buy 27.
Exactly right. Philip, Lewisham Lane in Prahran.
Gary, I used
to
live around the corner from there. Walk to Chapel Street, walk to the Victoria Gardens, walk to just a number of wonderful attractions. I think that's a really good buy at $1,499,000.
I agree with you, Philip. 41 Moore Street didn't sell. I reckon that's a buy too. 1495. We've got an offer pretty close to that, but that one is another one that we're excited about.
I reckon this week's pass-ins will go really quickly because they're priced attractively and they're really good properties.
25 Wicklow Street, Ormond is the only other one, Philip, and there's a block of land you can buy in Ormond with a north-facing rear garden and a big block of land too for $1,699,000. I reckon that's a buy as well. So I've got to say, Phil, for those that are watching and wondering, is there value in pass-in? I think we should make the show, put the heading in. Look at the past-in stuff because there's value there and opportunity as well.
One of the reasons there's value because vendors often readjust their pricing at the end of the campaign and they become much more obsessed about getting an accurate price.
Absolutely.
So often, and particularly at Gary Pier and Associates, you'll see that our past-in properties do come with attractive prices.
And they sell quickly.
Our vendors show real commitment when in those past-in negotiations, real commitment to getting the price right.
So it's a psychological shift. Don't be repelled by them. Be attracted to them because the value is there.
100%.
Philip, talking about value and talking about wonderful properties, here we are at 7A Latrobe Street, Caulfield South. This is a great position and what a magnificent home.
These developers have done the most fabulous job. From the moment you arrive at the front door, you know that you're going to be in for something that's of high quality. They have excelled in this project. It's not their first project. They're just getting better and better. The attention to detail, the interior design here is gorgeous. The polished boards in this property are magnificent, but whether it be the ensuite bathroom, the family bathroom, the powder room, the kitchen, the meals area, the aspects out over the landscape back garden, the alfresco area with the timber decking, Gary, this is a standout property and we're very proud to be representing the vendors here again.
We sure are, and this is a recommended buy. We look forward to seeing you at the open inspection. I think Adam's been involved in this one, if I'm not mistaken.
Adam Pakel.
Adam Pakel.
Yes, he has, with Sally Zellman and Darren Krongold Anthony Dunn and Daniel Fisher, that
All
team,
the prestige team.
anchored, of course, by the glue that holds that team together, which is Eliza Shillett, who does
Indeed.
the most incredible job. I'm not sure we've ever given her a shout out on GPTV
we have a number of
before.
times, and we'll continue to do so.
Good.
Philip, that's a big wrap for our sales, our pass-ins, and our upcoming. Of course, this weekend we have no upcoming auctions. It's a long weekend, but still everything's open, isn't it?
It is, Gary. It's business as usual, and we'll take this coming weekend to replenish our energy levels so that we can hit the ground running for the following week, where we will have a big auction weekend. Viewers,
another big one. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.
Markets in a healthy state. I'm Gary Peer. Bye for now.